This is your radio, Cayman.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery. Inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy. Taking care of your health. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066. And the Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency. Visit energy.gov.ky or follow the National Energy Policy on Facebook and Instagram. And by the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. Visit gov.ky/steps to learn more.
This is For the Record with Orett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees, so fair. Today is Monday, the first day of May 2023, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable weekend. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, again, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, the life you save may be your own. And unfortunately, over the weekend, we lost another young Caymanian life to a motor vehicle accident as well. So for those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday. Or if you celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday to you. And to remind you that the For the Record birthday shoutouts are proudly brought to you by life insurance agent Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center, whose advice is don't take chances with your family's future. And also, More Than Words, your gateway to local books and more. Connect to your culture, tap into your roots. More Than Words, located on the second floor of the Thompson building. Those of you who have lost loved ones, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing to you. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we wish you a speedy recovery. So folks, we want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I'm your host, Orett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. This morning, we're going to ask you to hold off on those phone calls, but when we do open up the lines, you can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925-3261. Follow us on YouTube by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream, and of course we're on Facebook as well. So let's look at the birthday shout-outs very quickly, and just to remind you, during the course of the entire show, if you do have a birthday shout-out, we will still share them with our audience if you want us to do that as well. So we're looking at today, Lindbergh, Dilbert celebrating a birthday, Mr. Timothy Adam also celebrating a birthday, and Mr. Matthew Leslie celebrating a birthday today as well. Okay. So we're asking you to hold off on those phone calls for now. We have an extremely important topic that we're going to be discussing this morning, and no strangers to the studio. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning the Chief Medical Officer of the Cayman Islands, Dr. Nick Gent, and also the National Epidemiologist, Rachell Corbett. And I've been practicing that all morning, epidemiologist. You still, I still, sort of stumble, with it as well. But they're here this morning with their continued discussions about the STEPS survey. So without any further ado, folks, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning, Orett.
Good morning. Thanks for having us again.
Okay, and Dr. Gent, I'm going to throw the microphone right over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, this is another stage of the roadshow with Rachel and myself, which is that we are promoting the understanding of the National Health Survey that we're going to be running in a few months' time. Mm-hmm. Our aim is to make sure that people understand what we're doing, right, why we're doing it, and in particular to make sure that they're very comfortable with the arrangements that we'll be making, because it's very, very important to us that as many people who we pick through a randomisation process take part as possible. A lot of time and care has been taken in planning this survey. It's hugely, hugely important to us to be able to understand the state of the health of people in Cayman, mm-hmm. and so if we fail to get people to help us, we won't be able to help them. So we want them to understand very, very carefully what it is we're doing, and so that they will feel that it's an important thing to participate in.
Mm-hmm. And this survey will be conducted in 3 parts. You want to talk a little bit about those parts?
Yes. It's STEP survey, steps 1, 2, 3. Miss Rachel's the expert on each of those parts, so I'll hand over to her.
Sure. So step 1 is a questionnaire. So we'll have a team of interviewers in the community approaching households that have randomly been selected, and sharing a bit of information about the survey with them and asking if they're happy to take part. If they are, then one individual in the household will complete a questionnaire. Mm-hmm. This has some questions on different behavioural aspects and lifestyle choices, things like diet, exercise, how often people do it, how long they do it for, whether they have a job where they're sat down a lot of the time, those kind of things. Mm-hmm. It has some demographic questions. It also has some questions about medical data in terms of, have you ever had a diagnosis of something like diabetes, some of the non-communicable diseases that we're looking at, as well as what healthcare have you kind of received for that. So we're trying to understand how recently people have been able to have healthcare contact for those things. So it asks us a series of questions in the questionnaire. And then the second stage, the second step also happens at the same time, and it's to gather some basic physical measurements. So this includes an individual's height, their weight, their blood pressure, their waist and hip circumference, and this enables us to measure things like body mass index, so we can look at the prevalence of obesity, and also looking at people's blood pressure, whether someone's got raised blood pressure and whether that could be risk factor for hypertension. So that's step 2. And then the third step happens at a separate occasion. And this is because we're looking to do a finger prick blood sample, which requires a fasting measurement. So it needs to be done early in the morning. So we've got a team of nurses who will be doing this. It's generally between the hours of 7 and 9 during the week, a bit longer at the weekend. And individuals can either choose to come to a clinic where we'll be offering it, or if they prefer, a nurse can come to their home, so they can book an appointment for a nurse to come back early in the morning one day and come and take that measurement. It will take about 10-15 minutes. It's quite a quick process, and all the results from that will be provided back to the individual at the time.
Now, Doctor, we have seen one government department recently having to issue a public apology and a public clarification on a process. I think it is extremely important from a public and a PR standpoint to explain to the public, what the expectations are, what the law is in relation to it, and using the carrot rather than the stick approach, how important that is. Could you speak to that?
Absolutely. And it is one of the reasons that we're taking so much time and trouble to meet people before the survey start. We've been very kindly invited on to radio shows like yourselves. We answer as many questions as we can, either directly from yourself or from people who call in. We're also doing community meetings all around the 3 islands, so people can meet Miss Rachel, myself and other people involved in the survey and ask questions directly. We've been producing fact sheets, and there was something in the papers at the weekend about these things. And we've been very, very careful to consult with colleagues, for instance, from the data protection side, to make sure that we're doing things absolutely as per the law. One of the things that I hope would give reassurance is that this is not the survey, and the methodology is not entirely new. It's been done before in the Cayman Islands, and without any problems or difficulties arising. And it is an internationally accepted and understood methodology that we know is compliant not just with data protection law in Cayman, but also it's compliant with things like the data protection law in Europe, which Cayman's data protection law is modelled on. But we've been very, very careful to consult as many people as we can to make sure we've got it right. That doesn't mean we're perfect. It doesn't mean we might have missed something or tripped over something, but at least by going out to the public as much as possible, we're hoping that we can anticipate with their help any concerns they have, and make sure that we're not back here in 2 months' time apologising on our show.
Yes.
I mean, there are going to be concerns. We understand that. I've become very aware that people in Cayman are very careful about their identity and personal information and so on. And when we've done the design of this study, we've taken that into account. Obviously, at the very early stages, when we're sort of knocking on doors, we've got addresses and things like that, and we've got information that links our step 1, 2, 3 information together. But once it's all been linked together, all the personal information disappears, and we just have it will be number 237, against the details, and the people who can see that data are going to be very, very few in number. Realistically, Miss Rachel and myself, we're probably going to be the only people who see that raw data to analyse it. And again, it won't have an identifier. We won't know who they are. And when we publish the information, because it's important we feed this information back to people, we will be making sure that it's aggregated so that nobody's identity can be possibly discovered from that. So usually we wouldn't publish a statistic unless there were at least 10 people, for example, involved in generating that data. We'll only be publishing data across 2 age groups, a younger adult and an older adult age group. We will be making the data available down to the individual district level, but again, if we find that the numbers are so small, we'll just simply put in too small. We will say, we can't publish that data to be able to protect identity. So we've got a lot of rules behind what we're doing. So I hope we've anticipated as many things as possible, but we're not perfect. And if somebody spots something and says, "Hey, I'm not comfortable about this," please come forward and tell us about it so that we can either reassure you or go back and look at what we've done in case we've made a mistake.
Okay.
I think the other
Sure.
thing to mention is this is a voluntary survey,
Mhm,
so it's
mhm.
very different in nature from other surveys that are done on the island. You mentioned about carrot and the stick. There is no stick here
Right,
because
yes.
it's totally voluntary.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
really, it's very much about trying, as CMO said, trying to explain to the public why we think this is going to be really helpful for them, and try and encourage them to take part so that we can provide better policy in the future and have evidence-based decisions. But it is all voluntary. There is no requirement to take part.
Okay, we're going to take our first commercial break. When we return, I want you to re-emphasize why it is so important for people to participate in this survey, what it'll cover, how it will assist the people of the Cayman Islands in terms of moving forward as far as their health is concerned as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas.
Alexander Selvin Eden, 1888 through 1985. Alexander Selvin Eden was a dedicated family man. He and his wife, Sarah Leonie Nee West, had 7 children, and their father made sure that they had the best education available. He loved to work the land and also raised livestock, providing steady employment for others. As a young man, he worked overseas on the construction of the Florida East Coast Railway, returning home after World War I. His major contribution was filling the void in transportation of goods and passengers between Georgetown and Bordentown, which he did with a horse-drawn carriage for 35 years in all kinds of conditions. The government called upon him for many duties in his district, including police service, tax collection, operation of the cattle dip to control ticks, service as foreman of roadworks, and as pound keeper, keeping stray cattle until their owners reclaimed them, and the maintenance of telephone lines. He also served as a member of the Assembly of Justices and Vestry.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
They say you only live once. I say you only die once, but you live every day. I'm Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center, longtime supporter of Radio Cayman. Live your life, my friends. Happiness is in the journey, not the destination. When you're ready, I'm here to support you with the best financial decisions for your family's future. Cayman Insurance Center, protecting you and your family so you can take back your future. I'm Michael Webster, the sure way to protect your family. Call me when you're ready at 925-5433. Don't take chances with your family's future or your valuable assets.
Think life insurance. More Than Words, your gateway to local books and more. Connect to your culture. Tap into your roots. More Than Words bookstore in the Thompson Building. Supplies local books, gifts, trinkets, keepsakes, wall plaques, and journals. the hub for local authors. More Than Words. So much more. More Than Words is now open. Shop number 4, second floor Thompson Building. Or call 936-5544.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
We still don't know the true impact of non-communicable diseases like diabetes and cancer on our people. This is why, from June 3rd to July 31st, 3,300 adults from all 3 islands will be chosen to participate in the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. Results from this survey will allow the Ministry of Health and Wellness to take a data-driven approach to making healthcare policy decisions now and for the future. Log on to www.gov.ky/steps to learn more.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
I tell you what, I need to find a way to bring my electricity costs down. I don't want to see another high bill next month.
Have you tried doing an energy audit?
A what?
An energy audit. The do-it-yourself energy audits on energy.gov.ky make it easy to find ways to save energy and money in your home or business.
Oh yeah? I'm going to log on to that website right now. What was it again?
Visit energy.gov.ky to download do-it-yourself energy audits for your home or business. There is even a fun activity guide for kids.
Complete an energy audit of your home or business before 31st of May 2023 to be entered into a prize giveaway. Prizes include a $5,000 gift certificate to Home Gas and gift certificates to Cooling Pros, Foam Pros, Costulest, and Foster's.
Visit energy.gov.ky today and follow the National Energy Policy on Facebook and Instagram.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Perfect timing there. You would have heard the commercial advertising the STEP survey taking place as well. And it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me CMO, Dr. Nick Gent, and National Epidemiologist Rachell Corbett. They're discussing the STEPS survey, the World Health Organization stepwise approach to surveillance, known by the acronym STEPS, is an internationally comparable standardized and integrated surveillance tool through which countries can collect, analyze, and disseminate core information on non-communicable diseases. Non-communicable diseases are diseases that are spread not through infection or from person to person, but are usually linked to health-related behaviors. Cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, chronic respiratory diseases, and cancer account for the majority of non-communicable disease deaths globally. STEP is conducted in 3 parts, as you heard earlier as well. And one of our listeners wanted to know, they said that Dr. Gent mentioned compliance with our data protection legislation and wanted to know whether or not there is the need or whether or not there is any other oversight body that will look into what is being done as well.
Very good question, and thank you for that. We don't have an oversight group checking, sort of standing over our shoulders and watching what we're doing at every single point. But this is a survey that's been well standardized internationally. It's been through lots of checks and controls through the World Health Organization and PAHO. And ethics groups had a look at it and doesn't have any concerns about that. We do have a committee in Cayman that's been looking at the structure and making sure the questions that we ask are appropriate and correct for what our needs are here. And we have invited people such as the data protection advisors within government to look at what we're doing to make sure that we are compliant with best practice. So not so much a single a single person or group taking oversight, but we've done as much as we possibly can for reassurance of ourselves, because we want to get this right. We don't want to let Cayman down. But we're also doing this, doing a lot of work, taking the roadshow out to all the districts across all of the islands to invite people to question us directly. So the public have a direct means of oversight, not just at the meetings, but they can contact us in all the other usual ways as well.
Okay, Rachel, anything you want to add to that? I know you're more the detailed person in terms of what's taken place, but anything you want to add about oversight?
I don't think there's anything particular to add there, apart from we're just really looking to align to international best practice in how we do this. And we've very thoroughly gone through the different kind of principles in the Data Protection Act and considered each one in turn, what that means for this piece of work, how we align to that, and check that with, as CMOs said, with colleagues who are experts in this in government. This has also been, our plan has also been shared with the Attorney General's Chamber for oversight. So there are a number of groups that have seen our plans, and no concerns have come back as yet.
Excellent. Okay, that was a short segment there. We're going to our 8 o'clock news. When we return, we will talk more about the survey. We will give actual dates. We want to talk more about it being a voluntary survey as well, and how people really, by their participation, will be contributing to something that is extremely important to us. And also, folks, to remind you that our panelists here will be with us until 8:30. At 8:30, we will have Premier of the Cayman Islands, the Honorable Wayne Panton, in the studio with us as well. So we encourage you to continue to tune in to Radio Cayman. For the record, we'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time by Foster's is 7:59.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex. Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
the voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Karsley Fuller. Parliamentarians managed to tear through a packed order paper during their 3 days in session last week before joining Sina DA Friday evening.
Over the last 3 days, we have gotten through a number of important bills. We've gotten through the two important motions, one relating to the approval of the strategic policy statement for the years 2024 to 2026, the motion we have just dealt with in relation to rezoning. And, Madam Speaker, we have gotten through no less than eight private members' motions.
Speaking on the day, Premier the Honourable Wayne Panton said the need for the meeting's intensity, which kept MPs in the House well past 1 a.m. on 2 occasions, was because of scheduling issues.
Several members of government have to travel very early next week, I think. The Honourable Minister for Financial Services had indicated that he has to travel on Monday with the Honourable Attorney General. Then I travel on Tuesday. So, Madam Speaker, I know that it has been a tiring stretch for members, and I truly appreciate the effort made to attend and to be able to accomplish this business in this meeting.
Make sure to tune in right here on Radio Cayman after the 6 p.m. evening news as we continue to broadcast last week's meetings. Every month, the National Weather Service sends out a report which breaks down some of the more interesting weather events over the last few months and tees up what's to come. Looking over the period, February to April, the average temperature for the stretch was 81 degrees Fahrenheit, which is above the climatological average. According to the report, February to April's rainfall totals are up for the period, with more than 6 inches over the 3 months. 1.37 inches of that fell in April alone. Forecasters say the country is moving full into the wet season now, and May to July is the, quote, first half of the Caribbean heat season, with, quote, slight heat impact potential. The National Weather Service says there is a 60 to 70% chance of above average daytime and nighttime temperatures. The climatological average for May to July is about 84 degrees. Looking at precipitation, between 15 and 19 inches of rain typically fall in the period, with this year's forecast calling for 40% above normal rainfall totals. There is a short-term drought watch for the period, but, quote, no concern for a long-term drought. And the annual bulk waste initiative, which usually takes place at the end of the year, is kicking off this week. CIGTV's Donna Bush reports.
Well, it's time to get bulk waste around your property sorted in place where DEH staff can collect it during the month of May. The Department of Environmental Health is reminding residents to get their bulk waste ready as the annual collection begins in West Bay. Now, over a period of 4 weeks, the DEH collection crews will be out in full force collecting hundreds of tons of bulk waste. Household appliances, furniture, and other items too large to be handled by the weekly DEH collection crews should be placed by the roadside where it is easily accessible to DEH collection crews. Metals and vegetation should also be separated from other bulk items. Department officials are asking for cooperation from the public to make the exercise a successful one. The bulk waste collection will take place from Monday to Saturday in each district. This time period has replaced the traditional November schedule.
Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller.
BBC News. Fighting has continued in the Sudanese capital Khartoum as the United Nations warns of an escalating humanitarian disaster. There are reports of black smoke billowing from the rooftops of the city as fighting between rival military factions erupted again, despite promises to extend another fragile ceasefire. First Republic has become the third major bank in the United States to collapse this year. Regulators say it's being sold to the investment giant J.P. Morgan Chase. Shares in the Californian bank plunged after it admitted customers took out $100 billion in March. Ukraine's energy ministry says overnight attacks by Russia have left thousands of people without power in parts of two regions, Kherson and Dnipropetrovsk. Ukraine said most of the missiles were intercepted. The Philippine President, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., says he's agreed to talks with China about fishing rights in the South China Sea. His government is locked in a bitter territorial dispute with Beijing about who controls dozens of atolls. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com. Are you tired of waiting in long lines at the pharmacy just to fill a prescription?
If what, child, let me tell you.
Well, now you can save time and money with ValueMed's online prescription service. Visit ValueMed's new website, valrx.com, and click the Refill Subscriptions button. Fill in your information and choose your preferred pickup location. Or email your prescription refills for ValueMed Walkers Road at rx-wr@valrx.com, and for ValueMed in Boddentown, email rx-bt at valrx.com. Say goodbye to the hassle of waiting in lines and hello to the convenience of online prescriptions with ValueMed Pharmacy. Visit valrx.com to place your orders today.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
It's time to celebrate 40 years of Cayman Carnival Batabanoo. 40 years of tradition, culture, making history. Experience the rhythm, the energy, the excitement of Batabanoo under the theme All Nations One Celebration. On Saturday, May 6th, celebrate Cayman Islands, Honduras, Jamaica, India, Cuba, Panama, Mexico, Trinidad, and the U.S. through music, dance, and stunning costumes. The parade starts at 1 p.m. from 7 Mile Public Beach and ends at Seafarers Way, Georgetown. For the food festival and the last lap street dance with 3 music stages to enjoy. Cayman Carnival Batabanoo, Saturday, May 6th, starting at 1 p.m. from 7 Mile Beach. Join us celebrating 40 years of a colorful melting pot of nations. Visit CaymanCarnival.com for more information.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach. Ensuring your existing appliances and equipment are cleaned and maintained regularly is an easy way to improve energy efficiency in your home.
Have your air conditioning equipment serviced by a professional. Make sure bathroom and kitchen exhaust fans and refrigerator coils are cleaned regularly, because the harder your appliances have to work, the higher your bills will be.
The do-it-yourself energy audits on energy.gov.ky make it easy to find ways to save energy and money in your home or business.
Complete an energy audit of your home or business before 31st of May 2023 to be entered into a prize giveaway. Prizes include a $5,000 gift certificate to Home Gas and gift certificates to Cooling Pros, Foam Pros, Costyless, and Foster's.
To learn more, visit energy.gov.ky today and follow the National Energy Policy on Facebook and Instagram.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 82 degrees. Relative humidity is 80%. The barometric pressure is 29.89 inches and rising. The wind is southwest at 6 knots. Overnight low temperature was 81 degrees. Synopsis indicate cloudiness and showers expected today as a cold front moves across the area and gradually weakens over the next 24 hours. Satellite images show scattered low clouds with embedded thunderstorms over the Cayman area. Now the forecast for today calling for cloudy to overcast skies with a 60% chance of showers and possible thunder, and temperatures will rise to the mid-80s. Winds will be south to southwest at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet, especially along the south and west coast. Tonight, partly cloudy to cloudy skies with a 40% chance of showers and possible thunder, and temperatures falling to the mid-70s tonight. Winds will be south to southeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet, especially along the south and west coast for tonight as well. Low tide will be this afternoon at 1:18, high tide tonight at 7:44. The sun will set this evening at 6:47 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:57. And the outlook is calling for cloudiness and some showers associated with the cold front to linger over the Cayman area through tomorrow evening. A decrease in cloudiness is expected by Wednesday afternoon, and light southeasterly winds are expected to continue over the next 2 days. That's the very latest on your weather report.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you want to go scuba diving on your vacation, don't bedazzle your wetsuit. And you think you look great, but what you don't realize is that you look like a shiny, scaly fish. And it won't take long for a shark to notice you. Next thing you know, you're busting out every karate move you got. But if you're smart, you'll have CG medical insurance and get airlifted out to the closest hospital.
Get coverage for emergency evacuations. CG Britcay. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions.
8:12 a.m. weather report is brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price and a service to make you smile. Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by Encourse Cayman. Visit encourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. Encourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Achieving our goals is rewarding, but at times can feel frustrating, especially if and when we miss our target. As you approach your goals in life, set yourself up for success. When setting your goals, break it down. Once the long-term goals are set, work backwards to set smaller and more manageable goals. These should be specific, measurable, and achievable. For example, study in the library for 1 hour 3 times per week instead of study more. Consider daily, weekly, yearly goals as success to help you focus on the essential steps today to ensure you are prepared when tomorrow's opportunities become available. Change your thinking and change your life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by Encourse Cayman. Visit encourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. Encourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. Encourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit encourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. Encourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning. Let's take a look at what your traffic is looking like this morning. Busy traffic coming from the east on Shamrock Road and also the Linford Pearson Highway. Traffic also busy on the Esterly Tibbetts Highway, and steady traffic on the heading towards the Industrial Park area, and steady but flowing traffic heading towards the traffic lights on Godfrey Nixon Way. Eastern Avenue flowing moderately. North Sound Road steady but flowing traffic in both directions. Edward Street, no issues there as traffic is light to moderate. Coming from the West Bay 4-way stop, traffic flowing at a good pace. And on the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions. Coming off of Bobby Thompson Way, busy traffic. And traffic heading to Georgetown on Crew Road is steady. And eastbound traffic on Crew Road moving along moderately. And that's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock. We'll give you another traffic report.
When you're craving something big, something tasty that gives you that lip-smacking satisfaction, something that hits the spot, there is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
It's pretty tasty.
Filling and full of flavor. Try our new sweet onion steak teriyaki with a twist. Or the classic chicken teriyaki. Top it with green pepper, onions, cheese, and that sweet onion teriyaki sauce, all piled on your favorite artisanal bread. Satisfy that craving with a footlong from Subway.
Fresh, delicious, tasty, meaty.
Let's make it a meal with a drink, chips, and cookies. There is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Hey guys, I got a joke for you. What did one ocean say to the other?
I don't know.
Nothing. It just waved.
I don't get it.
An ocean? It waves to another ocean.
Oceans can't wave. They don't have hands.
What?
How would they even see each other? They don't have eyes either.
Seriously, how are you not getting this?
Oceans aren't even alive. Nothing you said makes sense.
With most claims paid within a few days, we're like a friend that doesn't miss the joke. CG Britke. Good like that.
Excuse me, I noticed you from afar.
Really? Me?
Well, not you. The KFC sandwich you're eating?
Oh, Zinger.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be funny.
No, it's called the Zinger sandwich. Crunchy, juicy, 100% chicken breast, crisp lettuce, sweet mayo on a seeded bun with a little zing. KFC's chicken is not factory breaded, frozen and refried like the Burger Boys. Customize your KFC Zinger and dip it in barbecue sauce.
Wow, now I'm starting to notice you too.
KFC, it's finger-licking good.
For the record, with Orett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Miss Rachel Corbett and the Chief Medical Officer of the Cayman Islands, Dr. Nick Gent. We're talking about the STEPS survey that will be taking place. What we're going to try to cover in the next 12 minutes or so, we're going to reiterate what STEPS is, who will be asked to participate, why is this survey being undertaken, how will the results be shared, and how will the results be used, and most importantly, what benefits are there to persons who participate as well. So I'm not going to say any more. I'm going to pass the mic over to the experts in the studio. Folks, go right ahead.
Okay. If I just kick off a little bit with why it is and what we're doing
Sure.
and then get Miss Rachel to talk in detail about when, how, where, that kind of thing. What we need to do is know what the hidden burden of disease is and what the state of people's health is that's likely to give rise to disease in the future. So it's not about now, it's about that bit of the iceberg that's hidden. We know how many people go to hospital for things, but that's late. That's when problems have arisen. We don't want people to have established diabetes. We don't want them to have high blood pressure. We don't want them to have you need to have stents put into their coronary arteries for their heart attacks. We want to avoid all of that. So we need to know what it is that people are storing up as problems for themselves. And that's what the STEP survey is all about. And so it helps us to be able to plan what services we need for which communities to invest in the future health so that people stay healthier, fitter for longer, and can enjoy their family lives for longer. So it's about the quality of life and the length of life by getting their health right to start with. And that we don't know terribly well. The last time we had any data like this is over 10 years ago. Wow. The population's changed quite significantly since then. We're already getting hints through health data that quite likely people are bigger than they were. They're maybe not having as much exercise. We're getting hints that there's something not right, and we need to be able to quantify that to be able to make sure that we can give people the best advice and we have the right services for them.
Okay, Rachel?
So we'll be launching this survey on Saturday the 3rd of June. It will run for 8 weeks through to the end of July for those 2 months. And our team of interviewers will be out in the community in the evenings and the weekends approaching households. This is not something that will include everyone in Cayman. We're doing a sample. So that sample is randomly selected. And there'll be 3,300 individuals that are selected to take part. We've come to that number from a calculation that will mean it's representative of the whole country. So it may be that you're invited to take part. What that would mean is an interviewer approaching your household and asking if you're willing to take part. It's voluntary, so they'll explain a bit about what it entails and see whether you're happy to be involved with it.
So you will know then if someone approaches you, comes to your house and say, we inquiring to determine whether or not you want to participate in the survey.
So the way that we're selecting people is we're first selecting the household, and then someone from the household's randomly selected because of how we have the information from ESO, from the census. So we have a list of households, and an interviewer will go to that household and say who in your household is eligible, because this is just those who are aged 18 to 69 who are residents. It's not including tourists. So they'll find out in the household how many people are eligible, and the tablet that they use will randomly select one to take part. We'll provide some information. If the individual wants some time to think about it, totally okay. The interviewer can come back another day, another week, and see whether they're willing to engage with it at that point. And for the individual, if they do choose to take part, essentially it's also a free health check for them. So any physical measurements that are taken, our team will provide them with a record of those. If they do find anything that's concerning or higher than they'd expect, they will also flag that to the individual. And if anything is kind of on the urgent side of that, then they would be referred to A&E as well if they did find something particularly concerning at that point. But we are, as CMO said, we're really looking to do this to have updated data on non-communicable diseases and risk factors for those, so that we can look and see what's changed in the last 10 years and use that to project ahead.
Okay. Now, someone wanted to know that you mentioned the survey won't include visitors, but they wanted to know whether or not it will just be restricted to permanent residents and status holders, because work permit holders are sort of transient and in most instances would be in the Cayman Islands for possibly a maximum of 8-9 years.
So we're looking for this to be anyone who is living in Cayman currently. I appreciate Cayman is a very unique population, as you say, that we have permanent residents, we have Caymanians, we have expats, we have a lot of different groups here. And so we want to exclude tourists who are very, very transient here. But otherwise, we are looking to include everybody else, because we are providing healthcare to all of those groups. And really, that's what this is about. And I anticipate we'll be providing healthcare to all those groups going into the future as well. So we're wanting to look ahead and say, if we're expecting that we'll have all these different groups on the island in the future, how can we best provide healthcare for them and know the status of them?
Okay. And for those, we know that some persons had the benefit of the ad that was running on Radio Cayman this morning. For those who didn't, let's give them some more details in relation to when this survey will start and more pertinent details as well.
Yes, so it starts on Saturday the 3rd of June. It's called the STEP survey, and there are 3 main parts, 3 different steps. The first is a questionnaire. The second is some physical measurements, things like height and weight and blood pressure, and those will happen together at the same time. And the third step is a finger prick blood sample that we can look at for blood glucose and cholesterol, and that will be a separate appointment first thing in the morning, as it's a fasting measurement.
Okay, another question that we have is why the cutoff age at 69?
It's practical. It would be lovely to be able to do the whole population from a very young age to the oldest possible age. But generally speaking, when we're talking about the older group, we've got a very clear index as to what the disabling factors are. Once you look at the 60 to 69-year-olds, we know at that point that they're going to be very representative of the people, the body mass, the habit, and so on. Is extremely well established. So we're looking really at 2 age groups. We're looking at the sort of the young adult group and the older adult group, and they represent sort of the two ages of people's life. The young age group particularly we're looking for because they're going to give us an understanding of what we need to plan over the next 40-50 years, and we're looking at the older of the two age groups because they give us a shorter planning area of about 10 to 20 years. Mm-hmm. But it's a practical decision. It would be lovely to include a lot of older groups. Clearly we get into more difficulties with younger age groups because there's all the child protection issues and things like that, and consent issues. But very good question, but we won't be missing data. We'll be getting very comparable data. And this is a standard practice in how this is used worldwide. So if we started to use slightly different age groups, we also wouldn't have comparable data as well.
Got you. Okay. And how the survey results will be shared? You want to talk a little bit more about that as well?
Yes, so we'll be putting together a full report of the survey findings, along with something that's a bit more digestible, key fact sheet, something along those lines to highlight the key data that we've found. And we want that to be publicly available for residents, people that have taken part, for healthcare groups on island. But we'll also be looking to speak to yourselves and other shows and community groups to share the results at the time and have some discussion around that too. Mm-hmm. And we'll be keeping an eye if there are other kind of community events, maybe public health conference or things like that, where we can give a bit more space to speaking to those results.
Okay. So what key advice would you want to give to those persons, those individuals who are approached to participate in the survey?
Please help us. This is a big investment in the next 10 years of healthcare planning for Cayman. Without this data, we can't help you. And we want everybody in Cayman to have the best possible life opportunities. And to do that, we need to know what the health threats are and how that's going to affect people's futures. So please welcome our researchers into your door. Participate. You'll be helping you, your family, your community. This is incredibly important.
Okay. And let's say, for instance, a person is approached and they say, I'd like to participate, but I can't do it today. How flexible will your
interviewers,
canvassers
definitely
be? Yes.
Yeah, they can just arrange a time for them to come back at the individual's convenience. Appreciate it might not be in a convenient time for the individuals that's approached, so they can just have a conversation between them and offer a couple of times that might be suitable and arrange a time to come back. Also, if they're not in when the interviewer goes, they'll just drop a notice card through the door to say, we popped by, you weren't around, we'll pop back another time. So that might be that's something that people receive as well, to say we came to speak to you, but you were out at the time, so we'll pop back another time soon and speak to you then. Okay.
And for those skeptics who may and the conspiracy theorists who may believe that the objectives of the survey may be something different than what is being said. What do you say to those?
No, it's very much what it says on the tin.
Yes.
We want to know how we measure up as a population, and what we can do, both on the Ministry of Health, but also the whole population can have a mirror held up to itself and say, "Hey, this is what we are like at the minute. Is that what we want to be, and where do we want to get?" And we can give ourselves some objectives so that we grow up as a fit and healthy country.
Okay, I want to give both of you an opportunity for some closing comments, and I know that we said June 1st is when the survey starts.
June the 3rd, yeah.
June the 3rd, sorry.
Saturday
June the 3rd.
Not
And, we hope to have you on before then as well, but give you an opportunity for some closing comments.
Thank you. I'll just mention CMO has referred to some of the district community meetings that we've had going on. We have the last one happening on Grand Cayman this Thursday. So the Georgetown community meetings happening at the Mary Miller Hall, 6:30 this Thursday evening. So if anyone, whether you live in Georgetown or not, but you'd like to come and hear some more about it, ask some questions, the team will be there, and we'd love to see you there, 6:30 till 7:30.
Yeah. Okay. Please just ask. Don't close the door on us because you've got a concern that you haven't asked about. Please engage. It is voluntary. We want to make you feel comfortable. Want you to know that your data is being used in a careful and sensible way. But ultimately, we want to help all of us who live on this beautiful island.
Okay. And to our listeners and viewers, if you have any questions, please feel free to forward them to us. We will then pass them on to our panelists here. But in the event that someone wants to contact you otherwise, do you have contact details that you want to share as well?
Yes, we do. We have an inbox, an email inbox that's particularly for this survey, so you're welcome to reach out to us on there. It's hwsteps@gov.ky. If you also just want to find out a bit more information, we've got some on our website, so www.gov.ky/steps, and we've got a series of further asked questions there if you want to find out more.
Okay, so folks, nothing to be fearful about. Seeking information that's going to be beneficial to you, beneficial to the country as well. Look forward to having both of you back on before the 3rd of June as well, so that we can continue to re-emphasize the importance of this survey. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record, and we hope to have, the Premier will be on the show. I'm not sure if he's in the studio, in the building yet, but he will be on for the record when we return. So please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her Gent money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the Gent Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens,
and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. You heard the CMO and the epidemiologist, Ms. Rachell, in the studio this morning talking about the STEPS survey. Well, one person shared with me that they had 4 persons in attendance in West Bay one night of last week. And want to say to people, that's 4 persons in the district of West Bay. That is really not representative of the district. But we do understand and that when it comes to public engagement, public meetings, and we see it sometimes even with politicians, they have to have little goodies and, something to attract people to their meetings as well. We're not too good at, as far as public meetings are concerned in the Cayman Islands, but they do get feedback in relation to being heard on radio, in particular Radio Cayman as well. This person, this one is funny. This person says, "Good morning. And blessings to the panelists. They just wanted to know if they can still feed chickens and cats without penalty." That dialogue on that has well passed. I don't think that you really want to regurgitate that whole issue. I think, we're doing pretty well with that. So, folks, mosquitoes. This morning, I received 1 call. I received 1 WhatsApp message about mosquitoes. One individual shared with me and said they had never seen mosquitoes like this since the 50s. Another person said that they went to walk their dog and they were covered with mosquitoes. They basically had to go back inside. They couldn't continue to walk their dog as well. What I'm looking for the release that was sent in relation to public health on MRC. Okay, here we go. Yes. Here it is, folks. I want to share this with you, as well. So this was issued on Friday, the 28th of April. This press release says, following growing concerns and a slight increase in the number of complaints from the community about the high abundance of mosquitoes, the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the Mosquito Research and Control Unit, MRCU, would like to offer clarity on the current situation and how MRCU is addressing it. Says so far in 2023, there have been 3 large mosquito emergencies. The most significant mosquito emergency occurred on the 20th of February and saw an average trap catch of 277 mosquitoes. The emergence on the 27th of March saw an average of 214 mosquitoes per trap. The current emergence has so far peaked at an average of 132 mosquitoes per trap. It is expected to increase further over the next few days as more mosquitoes emerge, explains Dr. Alan Wheeler, director of the MRCU. While there has been some heavy rainfall in April, Dr. Wheeler explains that the current mosquito emergence is due to high tides. Any tide that is above 30 centimeters will cause flooding of the mangrove areas. Then it goes on to say, on the 6th of April, the tide rose above this level and increased gradually until it reached a peak of 64 centimeters on the 19th of April. This was the highest ever tide recorded by MRCU. The result of this extended high tide has been to hatch mosquito eggs that have remained dormant for many years. That is what was added by Dr. Wheeler. MRCU insecticide applications are conducted based on a daily evaluation of the mosquito situation, not on a set schedule. So I'm going to repeat that, and I'm not sure that I can explain it, but I'll try to see if I understand it. It says MRCU insecticide applications are conducted based on a daily evaluation of the mosquito situation, not on a set schedule. Since the onset of the current mosquito emergence on the 13th of April, MRCU has conducted 40 separate ground ULV control missions across Grand Cayman and treated a total of 68,143 acres. MRCU has been unable to conduct any aerial operations since April 14th due to a necessary repair being discovered during weekly inspection of one of its aircrafts. The necessary technical experts are on island working to resolve the problem, and it is expected that the aircraft should return to service by mid next week. That is mid this week. MRCU's second aircraft is currently undergoing its required annual inspection and not available until this is completed in about 1 month's time. So we're going to have one aircraft until 1 month's time. And here's a quote. We have also received inquiries about the personnel capacity of MRCU's Aerial Operations Unit, explains Ms. Nellie Pucci, Chief Officer for the Ministry of Health and Wellness. MRCU currently has one full-time pilot and is looking to fill the vacancy of a second pilot in order to ensure that aerial operations are properly resourced. Recruitment of an additional pilot is currently underway, Chief Officer Pucci adds. It is important to note that MRCU's Aerial Operations Unit is actually quite unique. While the unit is primarily used to support MRCU's operation, it is also a part of other potential support services, such as the fire service, should there be a need for aerial assistance for any of their operations. Given the demand of the post, the proximity which the aircraft flies in residential areas, and the modifications of the airplane to ensure that it meets the changing needs of MRCU's control operations, this post requires an experienced pilot. So recruiting the person with the necessary skills takes time. That is emphasis placed by Chief Officer Nelly Pucci. The ministry is working closely with MRCU in an effort to help educate both residents and stayover visitors of MRCU's aerial operations in light of complaints that have been received about the flights. Our aerial operations for MRCU falls into two general categories, and this goes on and on. It is pretty long, and I must say that when you see such a long explanation like this, sometimes it really detracts from the message that we really need to get across. And while this explains the issues that MRCU are having, it doesn't really give any solace to the populace that is in fact affected by the mosquito situation. So we have to get some better answers from the operational level, from the operational standpoint. Yes, it sounds as if some of these issues may have been beyond the control of beyond human control, but we also should be proactive in our approach to this. In this day and age, 2023 in the Cayman Islands, we should not, folks, I repeat, having to face with a mosquito problem of such proportions that we're dealing with now. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we will have Premier in the studio, so please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
Washing your clothes in cold water can save you 90% of your washing machine energy usage.
Using LED light bulbs uses 75% less energy than regular bulbs, and they last 25 times longer. Keeping your appliances and equipment cleaned and maintained regularly will reduce your monthly electricity bill.
The do-it-yourself energy audits on energy.gov.ky make it easy to find ways to save energy and money in your home or business.
Complete an energy audit of your home or business before 31st of May 2023 to be entered into a prize giveaway. Prizes include a $5,000 gift certificate to Home Gas and gift certificates to Cooling Pros, Foam Pros, Cossy Less, and Foster's.
To learn more, visit energy.gov.ky today and follow the National Energy Policy on Facebook and Instagram.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our Custom Closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
West Bay Pharmacy. Personalized medicine, customized care to meet your specific needs. Your body is unique to you. Your medicine should be too. Whether you're seeking individual-specific medication, correct size dosages, or simply better tasting medicine, ask your pharmacist or healthcare provider about how compounding at West Bay Pharmacy can increase your treatment options, not only for your family, but for your pets too. West Bay Pharmacy, open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sundays and most holidays from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
For the record, with Orett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Honorable Wayne Panton, Premier of the Cayman Islands, after a real busy week last week with the strategic policy statement being tabled and debated in our parliament as well, and with the upcoming coronation of King Charles as well. It's got to be pretty hectic for you, Premier. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, and always a pleasure to join you, OC. Yes, it has been pretty hectic for a little while now. The process to deal with the strategic policy statement development takes some time as well, and it's really the start of the whole budget process, because we probably start dealing with the budget come the beginning of June as well, the development of that until we get into probably late October, early November, probably late October, to get the budget adopted, which legally we have to get done by the 31st of December.
And that'll be a 2
for
year?
the next 2 years. Yes, a 2 year period. OC, as I said, always a pleasure to join you, and
Thank you.
I really want to start by expressing sincere condolences to the family of another beautiful young Caymanian that we lost so tragically to that scourge of traffic accidents, that we have in this country, and it hurts all of us, and certainly particularly for those who have lost loved ones like that. We know all too well how real the pain is, and it's a life-changing situation. But this one in particular, obviously, is even closer to home in the sense that this is my Deputy Premier's niece, and it was really difficult, really upsetting. It always is, but to see the loss of such a young life and so much potential, and such a nice person. And anyway, I want to extend condolences to Deputy Premier Juliana O'Connor Connolly's family. It's her brother's child.
Yes.
But obviously there's also the Grizel family in Cayman Brac as well. Not just Cayman Brac, but obviously a lot live in Grand Cayman here. So I want to extend condolences to all of them. There are lots of aunts and uncles and cousins and whatnot. So it's really a tragic time.
It is
for everybody.
Yes.
And I so appreciate when every time I hear you on radio and you talk about asking people to take care on the roads and avoid the traffic situations and crashes and drive more carefully, be more courteous. That is really so important. This, in this scenario, I haven't heard that there's any particular reason for it. Obviously, some things are just genuine accidents, but tragic nonetheless. But a lot of them probably can be avoided. We've had difficulties with traffic accidents, and that's something that we have to avoid. Last year we had something like 15 people lose their lives on Cayman's roads, and we can't repeat that again. That kind of level of tragedy.
That is so true.
And it's more than just the fatalities. That is the severe aspect of it. But we have, I think last year we had something like 32 people that were, significantly or severely injured. And then there was another 360 people that had more minor injuries. But all of that translates into, impacts on people's lives and impacts on their employment, their workplace of work. So I will join you every time you say, you ask people to be careful on the roads and to avoid accidents and to be as courteous as possible. I absolutely join you. I'm part of the chorus with you on that.
Thank you.
So, one of the things I wanted to talk about this morning, OC, is related to the traffic situation, and it is the first in some of the initiatives that we're taking to start to address that. So this morning, I'm happy to be able to say that Cabinet has approved the Customs and Border Control Prohibited Goods Amendment Order 2023, which will see new import restrictions on some categories of vehicles that are older than 7 years. As I said, this is the first in a series of actions to try to help improve road safety issues, try to help improve manage the traffic congestion issues, and obviously the negative impacts on our quality of life that develop, particularly at peak commute times. This order will come into force today, the 1st of May 2023. We didn't just do this in the blind. Obviously, we did quite a bit of reviewing to understand what was reflected in the data, and just to give you an idea, we looked at the vehicle imports between 2010 and 2022.
Okay,
so that 12-year period, to give us some insights. And over for the 10-year period, 2012 to 2022, the importation of vehicles amounted to 39,267.
Wow.
Right? So 40,000 cars, basically rounding it up. That works out to an average of just under 4,000 cars, obviously, for 10 years per year. But the more important thing and the more interesting statistic is that if you look at the second half of that 10-year period, that reflected 23,953 cars, so call it 24,000, and that reflects an annual average of about 4,800 cars per year for each of the years in the second half of the 10-year period. So basically, the last 5 years of this of Cayman's history here, we've imported 4,800 cars per year, and that's really like a 30% jump on the first 5-year period. And you'll remember that lost my train of thought for a second. It was related to another point. I'll come back to that. What we're obviously trying to do is we'll slow down the rate of importation of cars. We'll reduce the number of older cars that are coming in. Yes, I know, they're cheaper cars, but part of the problem is you have a lot of these deportees, as we refer to them, that come from other jurisdictions where they have existing life limits in place on vehicles, and they end up getting imported here. The difficulty with that is many of them it's really hard to get parts for.
Yes.
Right. So while they're relatively inexpensive, they're hard to maintain. They're hard to keep on the road, and anything that's hard to maintain and hard to keep on the road ends up, and that's relatively inexpensive, ends up becoming disposable. And what happens to it? It ends up getting parked on the side of the road, or parked in yards somewhere. Too often just abandoned.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And that ends up being a problem for government to try to collect and dispose of. So there are safety issues around them, and we have a Traffic Act amendment, which will come along. We've got drafting instructions out on that, so it's being prepared. And that will be addressing a lot of the issues around making sure that vehicles that are brought in are up to standard, basically roadworthy, and that reflect appropriate safety standards that we want to ensure are available to the benefit of our people who are either riding in these cars or who may be impacted if there's a problem with the vehicles. And driving around in Cayman, you do see from time to time, you do see a lot of these vehicles just being parked on the road, and we, as representatives, being familiar with our neighborhoods and communities, we will ask DEH to address them. But I have seen, if you go up flying around, you see some incredible areas where there's honestly, it looks like vehicle graveyards, and it's well off the road, a lot of these places.
Yes.
But that is that there. It doesn't make Cayman look pretty to see that kind of thing.
Okay, folks. Go ahead, sir. I'll finish it first.
So this order comes into effect today, as I said, and we are seeking to slow down the amount of traffic, the amount of cars that are coming in, and obviously this has. Let me just for clarity's sake, say that there will be exemptions for special vehicles. So agricultural vehicles, engineering vehicles, maintenance, construction, those vehicles that are older than 8 years, you can get exemptions, or 7 years rather, you can get exemptions for. And additionally, like classic vehicles, and antique vehicles, those types of things. Collector cars, that type of stuff. You can get exemptions for. And there's also a transition provision, so that
that was the question. Yeah.
If you have cars that are on the way, and you're able to just demonstrate by documentation to customs that are customs and border control that you have already acquired this car.
So effectively, any vehicle that has been ordered or procured after today's date would have to fulfill all of the requirements. Okay, we reached the top of the hour. Headline news at 9 o'clock. When we return, the conversation with Premier of the Cayman Islands, the Honourable Wayne Panton, will continue, so please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority.
Cayman is commemorating the King's coronation with a special family-focused celebration. It's taking place on Monday from 4 to 8 p.m. along Cardinal Avenue. The event is hosted by Celebrate Cayman. Russia has launched a series of missiles at Ukrainian cities in the second pre-dawn attack in 3 days. Pavlohrad, a logistics hub near the central city of Dnipro, was hit ahead of a much-anticipated counteroffensive by Ukraine. The strike sparked a major fire, destroyed dozens of houses, and wounded 33 people. Hours later, the air raid alert sounded across the country, with the capital Kyiv among the targets. And an explosion at the Russian border region of Bryansk derailed a freight train today. The local governor said the explosive device went off along the line, which was about 60 kilometers from Ukraine. The incident saw the locomotive catch fire and 7 freight wagons derail. The region, which borders Ukraine and Belarus, has seen acts of sabotage since Russia invaded Ukraine. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
The headline news are brought to you by Health Services Authority.
When you have a sports or fitness-related injury, trust the expertise of the HSA Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic to get you back in the game. Our internationally trained and certified physicians specialize in sports traumatology, sports medicine, pain management, and orthopedic surgery. For treatment of common injuries such as tendonitis, arthritis, tennis elbow, rotator cuff, or knee tears, schedule a consultation with the Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic at Smith Road Medical Center by calling 949-8600 or visit hsa.ky for more information.
For the record, with Orett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning, Premier of the Cayman Islands, Honorable Wayne Panton. You heard him earlier speak about the fact that the Customs and Border Control Act in relation to prohibited goods will be has been amended, coming into effect today, and that will address the issue of vehicles being imported into the Cayman Islands that are over 7 years of age as well. And Premier, you have mentioned that there will be certain exceptions to this as well.
Right.
Can you explain a little bit more about the process? Who will be the person empowered or the entity empowered to enforce, as well as to authorize exemptions when they do occur?
Right. So this is all done under the ambit of Customs and Border Control. That's why the approach was taken to utilize the Customs and Border Control Prohibited Goods Amendment Order approach. And so if you feel that the transition provisions apply to you, then you can provide the documentation to CBC to get confirmation that you can bring the vehicle in because the transition provisions apply, and you had already begun the process of acquiring this vehicle, or is in shipping transit, let's say, as an example. And I also want to say, which I didn't mention earlier, that it doesn't limit the omnibuses, so that it has no impact on those. It has no impact on the special vehicles like the agricultural and work and construction and engineering and all that.
And why those? If someone would ask the question, why those?
I think it's just because first of all, it doesn't represent a huge class of vehicle. Secondly, those types of vehicles tend not to, while they do go on the roads, they tend to spend more time off the roads on job sites than specifically part of the everyday traffic solution. And it's some of these just are going to be, there are features about them that make their utility higher if they're like an older vehicle as opposed to a newer vehicle. Some of them can't run properly on the types of fuel that we have here and this type of thing. So sorry, some of the newer ones, like the brand new vehicles, may have difficulties. So we're just trying to recognize that there has to be some accommodation, and those don't represent a significant at all part of the traffic problems. And obviously a lot of this is derived from our population growth. I hear people talking about, well, cars not a problem, people are the problem. Well, we have a very, just like Florida and many parts of the U.S., we have a very car-centric society here, and that's partly a cultural thing, and that's partly a reality that we haven't done what we need to do in order to develop properly our public transport system. So that is another thing that we will be working on, and are currently working on. And in the interim, we know that building roads is not going to solve the problem, right? Building roads can partially address the problem only. It isn't going to be the full solution. So, we need to have measures in place to provide these alternate solutions, and we've had a 10,000 person increase in our population over the last 2 years, and maybe even a little bit tighter than that, maybe closer to 18 months, which has had a major impact. But the solution is really to control the amount of cars that are coming in as far as possible, while minimizing impacts on people, and then expand the level of public transport available. So what we are going to do is my team in my office have been working. They've been having meetings with a number of the transport companies that exists in Cayman. You know, that are typically sort of involved either to a limited extent in public transport. Some of them share public transport. Some of them do like tour operator transport or tourist transport, that type of thing. So we've had meetings with a number of them, and they've been very productive meetings, and they have shared some of their experience of being engaged in transportation of volumes of people. And so we're going to be implementing some of those, which basically we're going to be implementing a ride and share program, or a ride share program, park and ride program, where we have in the outer districts, we'll have parking areas where people can go and park and catch a bus to come in to Georgetown. Obviously not everybody is going to be able to utilize that, but obviously even if we have a reasonable degree of success with it, you know, it's going to reduce the amount of traffic on the road. I have had the 911 data provided for the Grand Harbor area, and every morning between 6 and 10 we average about 8,000 cars that come through there. During the week after Easter, when everybody was saying, wow, traffic is just amazingly light, you know, it's a quick zip into town, I had them pull the data for that as well. And the interesting part of that was I sort of anticipated that it would show a significant reduction in the volume over that time period between 6 and 10. So I thought it would show something like maybe, you know, 6,500 cars or something like that. What it showed was that it was the same sort of volume of cars, same 8,000 cars, but they were spread out more evenly across that time period of 6 to 10. So you had, you know, what happens on a normal day is that you get, let's say, 80% of the 8,000 coming through between, say, 6 and 8, or 6 and 8:30, and then the rest of it then is between 8:30 and 10. But this one, the week after Easter, when the schools are closed, it showed a sort of a relatively even distribution of vehicles. So that is what made traffic appear very light, and that is indicative to us that if we can make some adjustments, you know, we may be able to significantly improve the traffic congestion that's experienced. And yes, that improves quality of life, and it improves or minimizes the level of pollution and all that kind of thing, because cars are on the road for a shorter period of time.
Goes to show you the importance of data and data points.
Exactly.
You know how important that is.
You cannot guess with this stuff. You cannot guess, because you know these are issues that if you guess wrong, you can multiply the problem, right? You can exacerbate the problem. So you need to have a careful analysis and find the data where you can, and do the assessment. And that's the approach that we're taking here. Obviously, we're going to be incentivizing and encouraging carpooling as well. And I just want to be clear. I've seen on some chat groups people talking about, well, I don't know, I don't want to pick somebody up and take them in my car, and I don't know who they are, and they're a stranger to me, and you know, I don't know about their hygiene, and you know, they may not be reflective of a standard that I'm comfortable with, and we're not asking people to stop on the road and pick up strangers.
Yes.
Right? We're asking people to, in communities, to try to help organize and, you know, find two friends who are going the same place or going along the route that, you know, you can carpool, they can ride with you.
Or a co-worker.
A co-worker, yeah, perfect example. Let's do that, because this is a problem that we all suffer, and it's a problem that we all contribute to, right? And I know, as I've said before in the show, I'm driving along, you know, you can take any route anywhere, and you'll see that the vast majority of cars It's just the driver, right? So the average car is about 15 feet long, right? And if you can put 2 or 3 people within that 15-foot space, and reduce 2 or 3 other cars from being on the road, then you are well ahead, and well on the way to helping to resolve some of the problems that we have with traffic, right?
Precisely. Yeah.
And I want to say as well, right, if you think about this, right, the 8,000 cars that transit between 6 and 10 in the morning by Grand Harbour, if each of those cars are about 15 feet long, that's about, about 22 miles of traffic. I mean, if you put one space, just one car length between them, right, to help spread them out to avoid some of the crashes, that is 45 miles of traffic.
Yes.
So it just shows you how how significant the issue is and what we can do if we took 1,000 cars out of that, right, just 1/8, or a tenth rather, that would have a major impact. It would be so positive. So, Minister J. Banks, he now has public transport. So my team, who have been working on this, will be working with his folks in his ministry, dealing with the ride sharing, and we're also again back to considering how we could encourage private schools to do busing as well. There was a motion last week that was accepted to consider mandating bus transport for private schools. We'll be considering it. As to whether we mandate it, I don't know. We don't currently mandate it for public schools, so it's a little bit difficult to take a hard position of mandating
and
it. And
you may want to
for private.
You may also have to provide some sort of incentive.
Yeah.
And
we can do that. We can do that. We could. I mean, we don't have many levers in that respect, but things like
due to concessions on the vehicle,
correct,
right, and possibly licensing, as
correct,
well.
correct.
That would certainly
correct.
help.
So we can do all of that, and I think that will be all of these efforts, all these things that if we can take a multifaceted approach that add positively, each one accretes, and together you can make a significant difference.
One full basket, folks.
One cocoa, one cocoa field basket. You know how it goes, right?
We're going to take a commercial break. Premier folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and respiratory illnesses are among the top causes of death in Cayman every year. From June 3rd until July 31st, the Ministry of Health and Wellness will conduct the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey to better understand the prevalence of non-communicable diseases within our nation. Log on to www.gov.ky/steps to learn more.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. No one can stop me when I taste the beer. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Radio Cayman News.
I will well and truly serve the people of the Cayman Islands.
Mrs. Owen arrived this morning, met by an honor guard and dignitaries from all branches of government.
This will be the first time that the three arms of government will be overseen by women.
Your Excellency, on behalf of the government, we look forward to working with you.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
It's time to celebrate 40 years of Cayman Carnival Bannermanoo. 40 years of tradition, culture, making history. Experience the rhythm, the energy, the excitement of Bannermanoo under the theme All Nations One Celebration. On Saturday, May 6th, celebrate Cayman Islands, Honduras, Jamaica, India, Cuba, Panama, Mexico, Trinidad, and the U.S. through music, dance, and stunning costumes. The parade starts at 1 p.m. from 7 Mile Public Beach and ends at Seafarers Way, Georgetown. For the food festival and the last lap street dance with 3 music stages to enjoy. Cayman Carnival Bannermanoo, Saturday, May 6th, starting at 1 p.m. from 7 Mile Beach. Join us celebrating 40 years of a colorful melting pot of nations. Visit CaymanCarnival.com for more information.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
For the record, with Orett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, the Honorable Wayne Panton, Premier of the Cayman Islands. Before I pass the mic back over to him, I want to remind the people of West Bay that the 2023 bulk waste collection begins in your district today. It will run from today, the 1st of May, until the 6th of May. Also, want to remind you that some of the tips for you to get your bulk waste ready. Step 1, check your collection date. And again, for West Bay, it begins today, ends on the 6th of May. Step 2, separate metals and vegetative waste. Step 3, place your waste on the curbside. The items that will be accepted are appliances, mattresses, vegetative waste, furniture, bicycles, and scrap metals. Items not accepted: electronics, tires, hazardous materials, construction, and demolition waste as well. So West Bay residents, from now, the 1st of May today until the 6th of May, you want to adhere to that schedule, because if you put it out in your district after that date, it will not be collected, which means that it will become an eyesore in your district as well. Premier, just want to share one comment we had 2 comments. One had to do with the VIN numbers that are used for registration, and the question, when vehicles are abandoned, why can't the VIN numbers be used to identify the owner of the vehicles and then take the appropriate action? And this person has said, why did the Premier not make restrictions on importing cars apply to work permit holders only? That's what the majority of Caymanians have been asking for as well.
Right. So it's because it applies sort of across the board. It's not just the numbers of vehicles. It's the age of vehicles, and especially a lot of the vehicles that are being brought in that, as I mentioned before, that are contributing to the abandonment problem and the amount of vehicles that DEH has to deal with. It's the safety issues. As I said, that will be backed up with some of the Traffic Act amendments that help to clarify. So, for example, we have vehicles that currently can be brought into Cayman that are used vehicles, and nobody's checking to see whether all of the recall notices that have been submitted on those, but that particular model year vehicle has been attended to. So we could be importing vehicles that have multiple safety issues that are unknown to people, and then they might have the impacts from those. I mean, it might only be 1 in 10,000, but if you got 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 recall risks that exist there, you don't know which one of those may come along and impact you. Not just you. I mean, you might lose control of the vehicle and impact somebody else. So these are the types of issues that we're trying to address, and we may get around to that point where we have wider restrictions, but we're taking this in relatively small steps. In many other Caribbean islands and states, the restrictions are even tighter.
Yes.
So if you look at Jamaica, Jamaica's actually a year shorter than this period that we're implementing now, right? So you can't, in Jamaica, bring in a car that is older than 6 years. In the Bahamas, I believe it's 4 years. 4 or 5 years. I don't remember exactly what it is in the Bahamas. In Barbados, it's 4 years. And someone said to me the other day it was 3 years. I'm not certain it's 3 years. I think it's, as far as I understand, it's 4 years. So there are lots of other places that have even tighter restrictions, and they're of general application across the board. So this is 7 years is as an end date for the age of cars is not unreasonable. And we don't believe that it is going to have that significant an impact on our people in terms of convenience. But we are also not just doing this and leaving it. We are doing all these other initiatives, and then we're working on the public transport aspect, which will see us develop a proper expanded, reliable public transport system, which will address much more of the needs, and we hope through that to encourage people to not have to think that they need to go out and buy a vehicle. And that includes people who are coming in on work permits. Because I would imagine that if they have an alternate, which is a reliable public transport system, why would they not want to save the money and not buy a vehicle? They just take the public transport system. And that is a benefit that endures to our people as well, our Caymanians as well. And the same rationale from a financial perspective would apply to them.
Now, some jurisdictions also have a pre-inspection protocol before vehicles are allowed to enter. Have you looked at that as well?
Well, that, to be frank, I haven't gotten into the nuts and bolts of the proposed traffic amendments because, as I said, we've only done the drafting instructions, which generally talk about the types of provisions. When it comes to looking at the first draft, then we'll see exactly how it is proposed to address that. And I suspect, and I'm pretty sure there was a discussion in general about a pre-inspection type of protocol, but I don't know. I mean, that obviously would include increased costs for government, because that means we'd have to send somebody to or have somebody on contract to do the inspections for us. But that may well be what is recommended. I'm not sure yet. There was a traffic review committee, traffic amendment review committee, and traffic law amendment review committee, and I haven't seen a specific report on it from them, but we do have the drafting instructions, out, that when that comes back now, we'll see exactly what is being proposed, and we may well add to that some of these other provisions, like a pre-importation protocol, inspection protocol. So we'll see how it develops, but that's expected sometime. I would say probably in another month or two. So we'll see how that goes. But for the time being, this is about making sure that we begin the process of begin the steps to address some of the problems. And I think I've outlined how many cars are coming in. And the point that I was making earlier, where I said I lost my train of thought, that's what happens when you're thinking about three things at the same time.
Yes.
The point I was making at that time was about the average of about 4,800 cars being imported over the last 5-year period. And I think there was one occasion I was on here talking about the fact that I was paying attention to the number of cars that were being imported and recognizing that it was an issue. But there was an article in one of the media houses, their publication. I'm not sure, I don't remember exactly who it was, but it surprised me in that they recognized that there was about 4,000 plus cars, 4,800 cars on average, as I said, over the last 5 years, being imported for 2022.
Mm-hmm.
But the surprising thing was the statement that DVDRL, the Vehicle Licensing Department, they had registered 8,000 cars for 2022. Now, that one I have not gotten to the bottom of. I have not figured out how an average of 4,800 cars for that year translated to 8,000 cars getting registered. That's a bit of a mystery, if that 8,000 number is correct.
Could it be attributed to how do they count? If I have a vehicle, I have brought it in, registered it, and then I sell it to someone, and it is re-registered in their name. Could that?
It could be. It could be that, but I wouldn't imagine that. That would require thousands of sale transactions to be occurring in the private sector, and I don't believe that it could be. It doesn't feel right that it could be a combination of private sector sales and commercial sales with the car dealers. But I don't know. I mean, that one requires a bit more analysis. But if the 8,000 is correct, it's indicative of a part of the problem.
Yes, exactly.
It's a big enough problem to say we have approaching 5,000 cars on average being imported annually
per year
over the last each year over the last 5 years.
Premier, we're going to take a commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
So much happening so fast, too much. It is hard for me to follow my health care instructions. The private counseling with West Bay Pharmacy literally saved my life.
At West Bay Pharmacy, we know how complex medications can be. Our pharmacists are delighted to offer you personalized one-on-one healthcare counseling, free medication review, therapeutic callbacks, and we will liaise with your physician to ensure you receive the best in quality medical care.
Quality of life has a whole new meaning with the right pharmacy to support you. Thank you, West Bay Pharmacy.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Now you can WhatsApp your West Bay Pharmacy prescriptions to 516-0777.
We still don't know the true impact of non-communicable diseases like diabetes and cancer on our people. This is why, from June 3rd to July 31st, 3,300 adults from all 3 islands will be chosen to participate in the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. Results from this survey will allow the Ministry of Health and Wellness to take a data-driven approach to making healthcare policy decisions now and for the future. Log on to www.gov.ky/steps to learn more.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Attention West Bay residents. The Department of Environmental Health West Bay Bulk Waste Collection will take place between May 1st to the 6th. This bulk waste collection will replace the traditional year-end collection. Household appliances, furniture and other items too large to be handled by the weekly DEH collection crews should be placed by the roadside where it is easily accessible to DEH collection crews. Metals and vegetation should also be separated from other bulk items. Do not obstruct the roadway or storm drains or place tires, construction and demolition waste, hazardous materials or electronics. For more information on the West Bay Bulk Waste Collection from May 1st to the 6th, please contact DEH's Solid Waste Management Section at 949-6696.
For the record with Orett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record with Orett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me Honorable Wayne Panton, Premier of the Cayman Islands. We had a query about calls. The Premier wants to wrap up a few things before we take calls. But if you do have a caller there, Ms. Susan, just hold them on the line while the Premier is able to wrap up as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And thank you. OC, I wanted to just mention in relation to the bulk waste collection.
Yes.
That is, I think you mentioned, the benefits that we get from doing that in terms of aesthetics and keeping our properties and yards clean and stuff. Of course, there's more than that as well. The reason we have now moved this from the November period to the May period is to reflect the fact that it gives people the opportunity to move and remove things from their properties that could basically be safety issues in the event of a hurricane, which we're this is the 1st of May. We're 30 days away from the start of hurricane season, so that is that's something. And hurricanes have we've started to have hurricanes and storms start up even before the normal hurricane season. So it's all the more important. So this is it's from a safety aspect as well. We're removing things that might be projectiles that could damage property or even hurt individuals in the event of a storm. So from the traffic perspective and the reduction of vehicles, that we think is going to begin to help the issue. The carpooling initiatives, encouraging that, and the park and ride program, which will be set up within the eastern districts in particular, we think that is going to start to help as well. Is it going to provide an instant solution? No, but if we can get a 10% improvement, even that is going to make a difference. We had a lot of discussion last week about the east-west extension and talks around that. The reality is, we all know that is going to take a significant period to get that, even the part of that done. So what do you do in the interim? I didn't hear much in the way of discussions. I didn't hear any discussions really about how to really address those problems, because if it takes 12 months to build a road, what are you going to do in the interim? Do you just say people suffer until then? No, you have to provide ways of mitigating those impacts, and that is as much a part of the long-term solution as building any road, honestly, because roads, as we know, that's only a part of the solution.
Yes.
Only a part of the solution. And my point, the point of my discussion last week was a lot of frustration around the fact that we could have done, and first of all, we haven't done proper planning with so many things. You can go from the beach environment, that's why we have 7 Mile Beach with the southern end of it significantly eroded now, to roads, to flood management, stormwater management, so many issues. We have just kicked the can down the road, and we have not dealt with a lot of these issues that we need to do in order to properly plan, which leads to avoiding these problems, so you're minimizing the impacts on the quality of life of our people.
Because we're suffering the consequences now.
Absolutely. And for the East-West discussion, for 15 years, we've failed to deal with that. For 20 years, we've failed to deal with that, really. Nearly 20 years now. And I talked about time periods that were allowed to elapse between discussions, and I referred to 1 year and 6 months and 9 months and 5 months and 1 year and 3 months. And, my point there was, and I wasn't talking in just in general for most of it. I was talking specifically about the interactions between the Department of Environment, the National Conservation Council, and the National Roads Authority, as well as elements of the ministry as well, interactions with the ministry. We are failing our people if we do not take issues seriously, if we do not make sure that we're planning and we're getting the best information available in order to make the best informed decisions to avoid the kinds of impacts that we have seen happen in many other places. To go blindly into spending money to do something without understanding the impacts is negligence. That is negligence, right? And if we do something that creates flooding in a community, for example, that's negligence.
And it's also
ultimately the government can be responsible for that.
Yeah, and it's also important to understand the root cause of the problem. That's how you're able to address it as well.
And we're talking about environmentally sensitive areas that, as I said, given the time period, we could have done 5 or 6 or 7 EIAs by now, right? And for people that dilly-dally, for the NRA to be flip-flopping about whether they're going to do an EIA or not, when the circumstances dictate you should do an EIA, you must do an EIA, just like many other countries do. Any reasonable country is going to do that, right? And that's what's happened, and that's what the position is in Jamaica. And just as a nearby example, you're not going to go and build a road and have that road fail or have a really negative impact on a flooding issue, and the Jamaican people don't turn around and say, government is your fault, that to know, right?
Yeah, we had the issue there with Cockpit country when they wanted to do, mining in that area, as well, and there was a huge uproar about that. Premier, one of our listeners has written in and wanting to know what is being done to address the bad driving that clogs up the roads, and maybe looking at the driving test that is being administered to see whether or not it is addressing some of the driving issues, like people not using their indicators, using high beams, basic courtesies lacking on the road as well, and driving instructors being more held accountable more in terms of what they teach.
I mean, I think a lot of it just reflects the degradation of just general courtesies and people caring about other people and the impacts on others. There's some that just drive and say, well, I'm on the road and I have as much right as you have, and I'm going to do what I want to do. And if I have to impose my will on you, then I will. That's not the way for us to work together, live together. And the way you encourage every morning and every time you're on your show, encourage people to be courteous and to be careful. That is the kind of thing that we need to continue to encourage. And to be honest, the National Roads Authority have proactively come to National Security Council and presented a long-term road safety campaign plan.
Okay.
And that was accepted, but that very little of that so far has been implemented. And one of the things that they have proposed in respect to that is the application of the traffic cameras. So those types of things could help to address issues and control the traffic and impact behaviors in a positive way, without having to have policemen on every corner or halfway down, every quarter mile. Because the expectation of the public seems to be that, the police have to be everywhere at all times when something is going wrong, and that's just not realistic. So if we have traffic cameras, a traffic camera system, where people get ticketed because they're speeding, they're not going to see a police officer, but they know the cameras are there, right? Yes. And that impacts your behavior positively.
Certainly.
So it doesn't mean that because the cameras are there that people are going to get tickets every day, and the cost to them goes up significantly. But it does mean that if you're not conscious of your driving, you will get a ticket, and you will remind yourself after that, I don't need to see a policeman. I could be ticketed for speeding or bad driving or running red lights and this type of thing. So it will improve the behaviors. It will remind people to be conscious. And then once you're conscious of it, good behavior ends up being second nature.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that's the important aspect that I want people to remember. That we're all in this together. We are here. We share the roads. We share our country and our islands. And, I wish that we could be like the Bracken Little Cayman all the time and just drive around and say, wave to everybody and say hello.
Yeah.
But it would be apart from being a safety issue, your hand would be tired after 5 minutes driving around in Grand Cayman. But we can reflect our contributions to each other and our contributions to each other's quality of life by just being conscious and being considerate and courteous.
Definitely.
And thank you for constantly reminding that.
Sure. We're going to take our last commercial break. We have 3 callers. Susan, we're going to close the line off at those 3 callers. And when we return, we're going to ask each caller to please be as brief as possible. If not, we may have to intervene. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Ensuring your walls, ceilings, and floors are properly sealed against air leaks is an important step in lowering your monthly energy bills. Even small gaps around windows, under doors, or around lighting and plumbing fixtures can add up to as much air loss as having an open window.
The do-it-yourself energy audits on energy.gov.ky make it easy to find ways to save energy and money in your home or business.
Complete an energy audit of your home or business before 31st of May 2023 to be entered into a prize giveaway. Prizes include a $5,000 gift certificate to Home Gas and gift certificates to Cooling Pros, Foam Pros, Costyless, and Foster's.
To learn more, visit energy.gov.ky today and follow the National Energy Policy on Facebook and Instagram.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
For the Record with Orett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the Record with Orett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, the Honorable Wayne Panton, Premier of the Cayman Islands. We're on the last leg of the show this morning. We have one voice note and 3 callers. We're going to go through all of them and then give the Premier the mic back afterwards for him to respond. So we're going to take all of the calls before the Premier responds. Let's do the voice note first, Miss Susan. Here we go.
Good morning to Mr. O.C. and good morning to Mr. Wayne Panton, the Premier. Regarding environmental issues, I'm calling from in the district of West Bay. We had a meeting on the 27th regarding a development which we're very concerned about, a development in the Mount Pleasant area where landowners allowed to build up their area by 4 feet above the main road. Now, West Bay, some areas are very low, and the last rain that happened seemed that they were flooding in people's yard already and even coming into people's homes. So we need, if the Premier could look into the situation. We were told that seems like it was approved by DH, because planning is saying it's not there. That was not by them, it was by DH. We'd ask you if you would look into the matter for us, please, because we cannot allow this to happen, because we were approaching hurricane season and we know what it is, and not just for hurricane season, but any rain that will hinder us from being flooded out. We ask that you guys to look into it, please. Thank you very much.
I want to thank that caller as well. Let's go to the first caller. And callers, less than 10 minutes left in the show, and you want the Premier to be able to respond. So please be brief. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And good morning to the Premier.
Good morning, dear.
I just had 2 questions.
No, we're going to take one question. One question, caller. So you choose which one you want to give priority to.
It's okay. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, let's grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Is this my call?
Yes, you are, sir. Go right ahead,
sir.
Good morning to the Premier. Good morning to you, Mr. Moderator.
Good morning, sir.
For the record.
Go right ahead, caller.
Yeah. I just trying to think which one of the issues. Now, my car's a 20-year-old Land Cruiser, and it's going to outlive a lot of other cars that they're building today. So, Mr. Premier, I listened to some of the debate, and it is very indicative to me the way that so many MPs are throwing aside, because their controllers have ordered them to do certain things, that they're throwing aside all consideration for our natural environment, when our natural environment is the foundation upon which all of our tourism is built. Our tourism used to be built on people coming here for the financial industry. With the advent of Zoom and COVID and Microsoft Meet, they don't need to come here anymore. They can do whatever they need to do wherever they are. And use Signal, and the authorities can't hear what they're saying when they're communicating on Signal. Now, we don't have sand erosion. We have sand loss because we're killing the reef that supplies the sand. We're going to do the same thing in the North Sound when they put all the canals there into Little Sound, which is what they want to do. And if you go on the eastern side of Rachell Canal area, walk down those canals there, and if you want to smell and see the visible runoff that's coming from the fact that our sewage treatment in this island from the septic tank is killing our reef. That's where we're having the problem. We will have no sandbar because we will kill all the reefs on the North Shore, and when you don't have the reef, you're not going to have the sand, and you're going to kill your tourism industry. We're killing it on the West Bay Beach, and we're going to kill it elsewhere.
Point taken, caller. Thank you very much. Let's grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, moderator, and good morning, Premier Panton.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hope all is well with you and your family. Quick question for you. I just been, hearing, I just been catching a little bit in piece here and there. I wasn't in on the full conversation. On the transport side, one quick question for you. Did you ever discuss about how many vehicles a household can have? And if they have more than two, ever thought about increasing a tariff? Also, I was also thinking about, doing a collaborative effort between land and sea, offering a ferry service and with the public transport, the public buses. Since we have so many marinas stemming from Cayman, Prospect, you have Georgetown Yacht Club, you have Camana Bay, you have the Cayman Islands, Yacht Club on 7 Mile Beach there. And then there's also an app the public buses have where you know which one is coming, what seats they have available. So when I was invited to this Deloitte and Touche December 2nd meeting about how to improve public transport, I made all of those suggestions. So I don't know if you were abreast of any of these suggestions. But anyway, Mr. Premier, I leave you with all of that. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much, caller. Final caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, OC.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, I was listening to the show. I heard a message reading in regards to why this restriction on importation of cars does not only apply to work permit holders. If they're coming here for a temporary time to work, they do need to import a vehicle into the island. The question was asked to the Premier, but we are still waiting on his response because the question was avoided. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller. Premier, a lot on your plate there.
Yeah. Okay, so going back to the first caller from West Bay, she identified. I am aware of the fact that they had a meeting recently in West Bay. The community had a meeting around concerns in relation to, I'm not sure if it was one development only or multiple developments. I think they've had multiple developments going on in different parts of West Bay for some time. And I understand where they're coming from. I think there was a reference to DEH. I'm not sure. That wouldn't have been DEH. That would have been, usually there's an interaction either with Department of Environment or and or planning. But if it doesn't have something to do with the sea, or if it doesn't have something to do with an environmentally sensitive area, oftentimes it is more of a planning issue. But the Department of Environment are asked to comment on planning applications on behalf of the National Conservation Council, so they could have made recommendations in respect of that. But it is, this is indicative of the kinds of problems that communities will be concerned about.
Yes.
Right, and this is why I say, it was my ready, fire, aim comment. Because that's the reality of what we've been enduring for too long, right? You cannot go on and do things without a complete consideration of all of the advice, all of the information, before you make a decision. You owe it to the people of the country, you owe it to our communities to do that and to do it in the right way. And this rolling the dice and just taking a guess is unacceptable. And for people to not be committed to that kind of process is unfortunate. And that is why we're facing the consequences we are today with so many different issues, including the one that the third caller talked about. Sorry, the second caller talked about.
The sewage.
He first started talking about suggesting that we didn't have an erosion problem, we had a lack of sand production problem. We do have an erosion problem, but we may also have the other problem as well. We may also have a problem of, lack of sand production. The way the West Bay Beach is set up, the way the dynamics of it work, is that during northwester season, you get sand that comes down the north coast. That's why the water looks white. It's a lot of sand and siltation. It comes around, and if you look at the sand grains on the north end of 7 Mile Beach, they're twice the size of the sand grains on the south end of 7 Mile Beach, right? And the reason for that is the heavier ones will drop out first and stay on the northern end, and then as you go down towards, come south along 7 Mile Beach, progressively it's the finer sand that ends up dropping out last and settling in and becoming part of the beach. So, we are having an erosion impact caused by several factors, but one is specifically failures in planning approaches over the decades by allowing people to build into the dynamic beach zone, putting walls in there and building too close. If we had stuck with the original approach that we had decades ago, back in the 70s, with saying, the vegetation line is there for a reason. It's telling us that that's where the interactive and the dynamic beach zone starts.
Yes.
Right. But we, in our pursuit of wealth and making it more convenient for people who want to develop the beach areas, we've constantly shifted it, and now we're down into the average, mean high water mark type thing, which we know there's a lot of abuse around that. So there will be a proposal to fix that on the West Bay Beach, so that instead of measuring every month to see where the high water mark is, and then picking which one is most convenient for you, when you try to develop, we're just going to take the average. We have the data. We can take the average because our land registry people also have been doing, monthly measurements. So we can take a 10-15 year period and take that as a data set and work out the average there and say, okay, this is the line. No more measuring. This is the line. And then from that line, you can decide how far back you want the setback to be, right? And frankly, we know that the setback has to be further back. We can't repeat the same things that we've been doing because we're going to get the same results. That's the definition of insanity, right?
Yeah, that is.
So we have to address this thing. I
think one of our
we may have a sand loss problem, a sand production problem. We may have we may have erosion. Well, we definitely have that. And yes, we do have an issue with possibly with our septic system. It's not ideal. Is it destroying our reefs? I don't think that there's any empirical evidence that tells us that is a definitive problem for our reef, but it could be in some places. It could be in some places.
Yeah. We had another question on number of vehicles, whether or not thought had been given to restricting the number of vehicles.
I appreciate that caller as well. Yes, there was a discussion around vehicles per household. That's a kind of restriction that was put into effect in Bermuda quite a long time ago now. And we did discuss that, but we're taking the steps as we move along. We'll take steps and then measure the impact and see whether it's benefiting.
Yes.
And then if not, then we'll move into more restrictive.
And
the fee per vehicle type of thing, that works from a pollution perspective, but it doesn't work from a traffic management perspective.
Okay.
You know, on the basis that, you know, there is a concept with in pollution or on the issue of you know, emissions, that you make the polluter pay. The principle is the polluter pays, but that's not going to help us with traffic. And so we don't want to. The suggestion about ferries, that is an excellent suggestion, and one which I want to see implemented as well. That will be a part of the discussions around an implementation of the park and ride initiative.
Okay. And what do you say to the person who said that the restriction on work permit holders that wasn't answered?
Well, I thought I didn't duck it at all. What I said was that that we felt that this was something that needed to apply across the board for a variety of issues, because we don't want to just restrict importation by work permit holders which relate to safety issues and pollution issues and stuff. That those issues should apply to everybody.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
It may well be, OC, that another step is to then apply specific restrictions in relation to work permit holders. Just to say, you know, I don't know how we reflect it exactly, but it could be, you know, you can't import a vehicle or you can't drive your own vehicle in the first, you know, a year or 18 months or 2 years or something. But these restrictions that we're putting in place now are of general application because it benefits everybody, and the restrictions should apply to everybody in that respect.
And I think I had shared with you comments that a person, one of our listeners, has written about public transport and the concern that the owners of public transport vehicles, you know, what concerns, you know, how their issues are going to be addressed based on the implementation of a public transport system.
Right. And so there are still that is not cast in stone in terms of exactly how it gets done. It could be that it's a government program and basically we would employ the drivers, employ Caymanians to drive these government owned buses. It could be that it's a procurement of the services, so it's controlled by government, and government just procures the services. And it could be, and that could be a general thing where you procure the services for the entire country, or it could be that you procure the services for, in respect of Grand Cayman, you could say you have one contract for the eastern half of the island, another contract for the western half of the island, or different permutations of that, right? If we know we are going to have an impact on the existing public transport system, or the owners of the assets that are involved in that, then yes, we will compensate them, right? So there's no question about that. But we have to make sure that we have a modern, I'm almost tempted to say world class, because that's what I want from my people. But it needs to be modern, it needs to be reliable, it needs to be comfortable, and so it needs to be effective. And the third caller that talked about the bus app, that's exactly spot on as well.
Yeah.
Right? We need to have an app that people can look at it on their phone and they can tell when the bus that is going to West Bay is arriving, right? So wherever you're going, you need, if you can get an app that tells you the bus has capacity and that it's arriving in 5 minutes, then you know that you're there in 5 minutes. Obviously, it will be subject to some issues around the potential for traffic interruptions and that kind of thing. But that's the kind of thing we need to have, right? And it will work to serve the interests of everybody. I appreciate, OC, the callers and the different issues that they have raised. I feel comfortable that I've responded to all of them, but sometimes you aren't going to satisfy everybody. but I really appreciate the calls, and these are discussions that I've said this before, and I've said it, and I'm going to say it again. There will be initiatives. I had planned to start this earlier in the year, but we will be having conversations around these issues in the coming weeks and 2 to 3 months. I'm working right now on basically a sustainability guidance committee, which has lots of expertise, so that we're going to be looking in a very holistic way at a lot of the issues around sustainability, and that's everything from planning for roads and managing traffic to making sure that we're doing things that put us in a position where we don't have these problems, and we deal with the legacy issues that we've developed over 15, 20, 30, 40 years, that because we've not been willing to plan properly. We've just taken expedience is a real issue, and too often expediency has been driving decisions, which has resulted in these issues. So we're looking for the most convenient thing, and you say, well, let's not deal with the hard stuff, right? Or the slightly hard stuff. And that's what causes the problems for us. So we've got to address those. We've got to make sure that our people and their quality of lives come first. And that is, to me, that's a fundamental part of representing the people of the country, making their lives better, making the country work better, providing better and more efficient services.
Now, Premier, I know you'll be traveling, within the next few days as well, but I want to give you an opportunity for some closing comments and a briefing in that area.
Thank you. The governor and I will be traveling tomorrow evening to go to the coronation events around the coronation of His Majesty King Charles III. That will be obviously this weekend. That'll be on Saturday, but there are several events around that as well. And then following that, in the following week, we have the Joint Ministerial Council meetings. That usually happens in November, as you may recall, but because of the political instability, let's call it, or uncertainties around what transpired with different PMs coming into office in the UK in the latter part of last year, in the run up to November, it was the meeting was effectively cancelled. The normal November Joint Ministerial Council meeting was cancelled because they just didn't have time to prepare, and the ministers weren't in office long enough to get properly briefed and everything. So that's been scheduled for the following week. So that will be, the JMC meeting will actually be I think it's the 11th and 12th. That's a Thursday and a Friday. And then there will be another, to get back on track, there'll be another JMC meeting come November of this year. So we'll end up having two. Hopefully that means that we'll have half the issues in the second one to deal with. So we'll get back on track with that. But that is what's occurring next week. To be honest, I count it as an honor and a privilege to be able to represent my country, the Cayman Islands, our wonderful Cayman Islands, at the coronation event and the events around it, reception, the King's reception. I think that's why I'm there. I'm there to represent my country. Certainly. And to make my country proud, and so it's nothing personal for me. It is an obligation to make sure that we properly represent our country. So that we look forward to that, and then we look forward to the JMC discussions with the various government entities and the ministers, and the minister specifically for overseas territories, Honourable Zach Goldsmith. Okay. And that will happen, and I should be back by the middle of the month, and really looking forward to getting home, to be honest.
Certainly
I'm not looking forward to being away for any period of time.
Yes.
Anybody who knows me know that I'm an island boy. I like to be home. So,
Premier,
thank you very much.
Safe travels, and
thank you. And I want to wish everybody a wonderful week in our wonderful Cayman Islands, and please, again, be careful on the roads and be courteous and be kind to everybody, because at the end of the day, it adds to a beautiful environment and our quality of life for everybody in our wonderful country. So thank you all very much. God bless. Take care, and let's keep those families who have suffered loss and are going through grief in our prayers.
Certainly.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Just to say to the representatives of Sustainable Cayman, I received your message. I will share that with my audience, God willing, on Wednesday as well. Folks, we've gone way over, but Premier had something very, very important to talk about, so we wanted to ensure that he was able to articulate that publicly as well. Have a great day. Please stay safe. Join Sterling Drainey Banks at 12:15 for a talk today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery. Inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy. Taking care of your health. And JN Money. From abroad to yard. Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066. And the Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency. Visit energy.gov.ky or follow the National Energy Policy on Facebook and Instagram. And by the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. Visit gov.ky